In this mini lecture, we'll be looking at Chapter 9 on designing adaptive organizations. Here are the learning outcomes for this chapter. You may pause here to view them. In this chapter, we're looking at organizational structure, processes, and then departmentalization. So we're looking at vertical and horizontal configuration of departments, authority, and jobs. We're looking at how we take inputs and turn them into outputs to create value, and then how we organize work and workers in order to complete tasks in an efficient and effective manner. This is an example of an organizational chart. You can see it shows who reports to who and what work is done by each area. So here you can see we have our Chief Executive Officer, General Counsel, CFO, Senior Chief HR Officer, all report to the Chief Executive Officer. And then there are different units in motion, industrial automation, etc. And then within those, you can see what's under there. And so you can see that this reports to this, reports here, right? Drives reports to motion, reports to CEO. All right, we also have an example of a process here, and this is just showing a process for how Microsoft creates software. So they have their inputs, they identify their software, code it, test it, and eventually sell it. All right, and this helps them to know what process to go through every time they create software. So departmentalization is how we subdivide work and workers into organizational units, and it's done in 5 different ways according to this text: functional, product, customer, geographic, and matrix. So it's an example of functional departmentalization, where you organize work and workers based on their business function or areas of expertise. So you can see for an insurance company, the functions are sales, accounting, IT, and HR, and then the specializations are life insurance, home insurance, auto, and health, right? Same down here, kind of similar example. Here's product departmentalization, and this is where you organize work and workers into the types of products that you sell. So here you can see for this company, they have an aerospace division. Pratt & Whitney looks at engines. They have cybersecurity, air traffic management, etc., intelligence and space, and then missiles and defense. So the types of products. Customer departmentalization is your types of customers. So here you can see we have Verizon. They have all their top executives, and then they separate their units out by their consumers. So like you and I, who are for our personal phones, businesses, and then media. Geographic departmentalization is just based on geographic area. So you can see in this one, each color represents a geographic unit. And like a company like PepsiCo uses this in order to separate out by geographic location, which helps with distribution, as well as, responding to consumer preferences in different markets. And then a matrix is just a combination of 2 of the others. So a simple matrix is in which managers in different parts of the matrix negotiate conflicts and resources, and a complex is in which managers in different parts of the matrix report to matrix managers who then help them sort out conflicts. So here's an example, and this is what I really want you to know. Usually there are 2 different areas. So for example, Procter & Gamble has type of product up here, and then different functions over here. And so you can see that they use it's either by they use this matrix in order to organize how they run their business. These are definitely the most complex and usually are used by pretty large businesses. All right, we also look at authority in this chapter, and authority is just the right to give commands, take actions, and make decisions. And with that comes a chain of command. So you can see here that the foreman reports to the manager, who reports to the director, who reports to the vice president, who reports to the president. And a unity of command just says that a worker should only report to one boss. And you can see that's here. There's only one boss, right? And that's one of the principles of management we discussed in chapter 2. We also talk about line versus staff authority. Line authority is when you have the right to command versus staff authority, which is the right to advise. There's also a line function, which contributes directly to creating and selling products, and staff function supports these line activities. And so here's an example. In this example, you can see that the president has the right to command legal, that the vice president of finance has the right to command the department head. However, you can see that legal only has the right to advise everybody. They don't have any command within the organization, and so that's a staff authority. There's also the concept of delegation of authority, and this is assigning direct authority and responsibility to a subordinate, and which then, you can see that here, the subordinate then is accountable to their manager. This chapter also talks about the degree of centralization, which is just basically whether decisions happen at the top levels of a firm or at a central point. So here you can see, like, if this is top management, they tell everybody, they give authority to all the different parts of the business. Versus in a decentralization, you have a lot more authority in the lower levels of a firm to allow decision-making to happen closer to where the managers are and where the customers or the problems are occurring. We also have job specialization. So we have to decide how specialized a job is going to be. If you've ever gone to a McDonald's, you'll see that there's somebody who takes your order, there's somebody who makes burgers, there's somebody who makes fries, there's somebody who scoops fries, there's somebody who puts your food in a bag, and then there's somebody who fills drinks, and there's somebody at the window who gives you your part. That's job specialization. So you see it at like McDonald's, you see it when you go to the grocery store, people have very specific jobs. And you see it on an assembly line. The problem with job specialization is that people get bored. And so we want to vary what people do in order to keep them happy and to minimize some of the monotony. And so one of this is job rotation, where people just rotate between tasks. So in the McDonald's example, they might take orders for a while, and then, in 2 hours, they're going to go and make fries. And then the last 2 hours of the shift, they're going to fill drinks or whatever it might be. Job enlargement is just a horizontal movement. It's just giving people additional responsibilities in order to keep them engaged. And then job enrichment is a vertical movement where they're redesigning jobs so people are more talented. And so this is a good graphic, and you can pause here to further look at it. But again, job enlargement, just increasing the number of tasks to reduce boredom, and job enrichment is actually giving more authority in decision making. I also talk about intra-organizational processes. And so a mechanistic organization is just characterized by more specialized jobs, where an organic organization is people have more loosely defined jobs, and people do have many, maybe what we might say is wear different hats. One thing companies sometimes do is they may have a process, but then it's maybe no longer working for them, so they partake in this concept of re-engineering. So it's rethinking and redesigning business processes, and it's just a very iterative process. And the reason we do it is to achieve cost, quality, service, and speed efficiencies. We also talk about, when we talk about re-engineering, this idea of task interdependence, which is the extent to which a collective action is required to complete a piece of work. And so you can see we have pooled interdependence, where everybody does their part and it contributes to the finished product. I think of this as like a group project where you divide and conquer. Sequential is where one group or job's outputs become the input. So this person does their part, then it goes to this person, they do their part, this person does their part, and then it's finished. But they can't start until the person in front of them finishes. And then reciprocal is really everybody, it's more iterative and in a back and forth manner in order to create your finished product. One thing we have to consider is how we empower our workers. And this is just allowing them to have some decision-making and authority. And obviously the amount of empowerment we give our employees is going to depend on the type of job. But it is a way to motivate people to have impact and meaning and perceive themselves to be competent and capable. And so some examples are Zappos gives their customer service reps the freedom to talk to their customers on the phone as long as they need. They can give them little free giveaways in their packages. Really what they see is needed in order to make the customer happy. The Ritz-Carlton allows their customer service experts, customer service representatives to rectify customer complaints. They can give them free nights. They can give them free meals. It's really up to their discretion, up to a certain dollar amount. And Costco has a very loose return policy that allows their customer service people to easily accept returns from customers. We also have interorganizational processes, and we talk about modular and virtual. And so a modular organization is, and this is actually a better representation, is when a company outsources their non-core businesses. And so you can see here, everything in yellow is a core business activity, and everything in blue in this example is outsourced, or somebody outside of the company does it. They pay somebody else to do those parts. And then a virtual organization is really just a network where many companies share skills, costs, and capabilities to solve customer problems. All right, it allows for cost sharing, it can combine efforts, it's fast and flexible, but it can be difficult to control the quality of work done. So that is Chapter 9. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Thanks.